part of the reason we're depressed is because we think we're greater than we are. That's part of the reason. We think I shouldn't be filled with all this mumbo-jumbo garbage. So my arrogance leads me to be depressed because I deny the fact that I have an animal raging inside of me. But the other reason that we're depressed, so I disregard my animal self. The other reason I'm depressed is because I have no concept of how great my godly self is. In my work, I'm trying to help people see themselves through God's eyes. I don't want to know how you see yourself. I want to know how you think God sees you. And I'd like for you to trash your current self-image and begin to see yourself through God's eyes. That's liberating. The same goes for this reality. The world is called olam, which is concealment. Godliness is concealed, and Kabbalah will help you pierce through the external dimension of olam and touch the inner core of reality, touch God, who is at the source of everything. So could you imagine what your life looks like when you're living from that place? And that perspective is available to us through the texts. You know, God has told us how he looks at us. He says, I love you, I adore you. You know, and then he says, and you're a bunch of lowlifes. And it's okay. It's okay. Like, I say to myself, I say to my kids, you're big enough to fail. If you're not in touch with the greatness of who you are, you can't afford to mess up. But if you are, then wow, then you can take risks. Then you can really fly. So when I say, how do I see myself from God's perspective, it means I will be big enough to be human and accept my human frailties. I don't think of God as just my higher self. God is not us plus. We should not mistakenly think that. He is the only true existence, and as I said, there's not only the tree of life, but the Rambam. The Rambam says God is necessarily existent. He has to exist. Everything else is possibly existent. It's called Efshari HaMetziut. It just happens to exist because he wants it to. And our deepest fear, I call it our iffy self. It's your iffy self that maybe you don't exist. And there's a place where you don't, until you use Kabbalah to find what I call your sticky self. You can't negotiate life.